How's it going, boys and girls? Welcome to the Centre Bounce. It is our Monday show, and mate, you see something a little bit different. I am not rocking the green screen today. It is hiding. I can put it up if you'd like, but yeah, just thought I'd rock with a different background. Hopefully you guys are okay. Hopefully life's going well. I know I've got a few people in the chat already saying hello, and mate, before Joe comes on, he is not too happy about Essendon, guys. So let's not talk about Essendon too much. Or if you really mean, you could talk about Essendon a lot. And then, mate, you'll see what happens there. Hopefully everyone's doing well. Jonas, Essendon done. Yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one, isn't it? Joe went with JD from Fantasy Take and did a good video midway through the season, talking about Essendon, talking about how they're going, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we kind of saw what happened there. Michael, how you doing, Michael? Thanks for coming on. Sean, g'day all, Sean. Big J, huge score this week. Yes. Last week was good. I'm not sure what I don't know how to check. How do you guys check your ranking or your weekly score, like how well it did versus everyone else this week? Because, yeah, my weekly ranking was not too bad. I'm pretty happy there. So, yeah, pretty happy. I ended up scoring. Maybe we'll do a bit of that while we're waiting for Joe to jump back on. He is currently having some camera issues. But let me just pull up my weekly score, and you guys can check that out if you want. Settings. That's not right. Present. And then. Cool. So this is how my team went this week. I scored 25.97. Pretty happy there. Obviously the team value and whatnot. But yeah, haven't had trades for about 4 weeks or so. We have a look at how the actual team went. Undo changes. So originally was going to go Flanders with the VC. Ended up going Tristan Cherry with the VC, and he was my highest team score for the week. So bloody fantastic there. The rest of the team didn't well. Sorry, technically second best with Harry Sheasel being the best. So yeah, not too bad, not too bad. A few stinkers this week. I know Luke Ryan, I don't know what's happened with him, but it's kind of sucky. Sam Walsh, similar as well. Not a great score. I know a few people VC'd Merritt. A few people C'd Goulden or C Buttered this week. So, yeah, dodging a few bullets there. Curnow, so I had Curnow as the vice captain. Sorry, not vice captain, as my Friday emergency. So, yeah, it was a bit of a butt clench, hold your butt type situation, if you know what I mean, this week. So, Kynan Brown was named as emergency. Melbourne, Max Gorn, I thought he might be named on field, but was very, very lucky that he wasn't. So they ended up getting Curnow's score there. So, yeah, not doing too bad in terms of captaincy and vice captain. Having a lot of bench plays has really helped, obviously, as you see. So I had 27 playing this week, and yeah, it kind of allowed me to do a few different things. Would have loved to have another swing man, maybe a Dowling or Humphreys out, so I could loop one of these 3 players, but yeah, it is what it is, as we like to say on the show. Let me go through the rest. Hope Joe didn't lose his scarf at the Bombers game. No, unfortunately, I think Joe was away this game. He didn't end up watching. So, yeah, it wasn't that great for him. I don't know about this, but g'day all through. Yep, g'day Brisbane Lion fans. Hope you guys are doing well. Essendon, get in the bin. I don't know. Essendon, get in the bin, Joe. What do you reckon? In the bin? Oh, I think you're muted. You're going to have to fix out your microphone. Just 1 sec. Came 4th in my league, but I thought I had double chance. But did top 6 at the start. Cool. Nice. Max Gorn at Big J's for a sleepover. There you go. You see him in the background. He's hanging out at my house. So, yeah, it was a pretty funny story. One of these inflatable things I bought from Coles, and then it cost him 50 cents. And I was like, cool. It had maybe 10 people up on there, right? I bought it thinking, hey, be cool to get Max Gorn, because at the time, he was the only one that was in my Supercoach team. I think they had a Dusty. Maybe there was a few other players from other teams. You know, you kind of fan favorite type players. But no one who was in my Supercoach team. So I was like, hey, let's get Dusty. It's going to be okay. Sorry, let's not get Dusty. Let's get Max Gorn, hopefully. Not knowing that on the box, they had actually ticked like which model it was beforehand. So I bought it thinking, hey, look, that was it. And then pot luck. Hey, not too bad, not too bad. Nice, Corey. Pretty good there. Hey, Frankie, how you doing? Oh, missed out on last week's live, but VC Sheasel into Dacos. Not too bad, pretty good. Hope you had a better weekend than I did. Scored 2. Wow, oh, wow, Velo. Bro. Joe.
That's a yikes.
Beat someone this week, Joe.
That's a yikes. I managed to beat someone. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, all good.
Finally. Bloody hell. It took me over half an hour to get this sound to work. It is honestly as hard as it is trying to get the Bombers to work, if not harder, potentially.
I don't know.
Yeah, I've got a different background this week. I'm in a cemetery. I'm in a graveyard because our season is dead and buried. And so it just makes perfect sense. I went to go visit the site where 2024 was laid to rest. I think it was maybe this one right there in 2024. So that's where I was at. I laid the flowers. I did not lay a scarf. No, I've spent too much money on a scarf to end up throwing it onto the field. So plus the players won't have any need for it because they don't care enough to pick it up. It was picked up by the umpire. So I'm not giving
that.
Yeah. I'm not giving those players my scarf. Stuff them. They don't get my scarf. I keep my scarf. And the season is dead and buried. So yes. GG, no re. Another wasted season. We love to see it. Classic Essendon. Hope we all had a wonderful weekend. I'm sure everybody who's not an Essendon supporter did have a wonderful weekend because I know just how much everyone loves to see a Bombers downfall. So, you know, one can only hope that in the next...
I can't imagine it's that bad, Joe, but yeah, I can understand how you're feeling.
It's bad. It's bad. Don't you worry about it. September 2025, how many days will it have been then since Essendon won a final?
7.5, maybe.
We'd have to run the calculation. Have to ask maybe some chat GPT potentially to run the maths there. I don't want to think too much about that. The bin is too good for Essendon, mate. That's why we're in the graveyard. That's why we're in the cemetery, Velo. We're not in the dump. What about the Lions? Will we win over St Kilda? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Who have they beaten? They've beaten 2 bottom 4 caliber teams in the last 2 weeks.
They have beaten, I think they said 5 out of the last 8 games in Kilda, but yeah, it's not great.
Yes, don't worry about that. Supercoach Scott, how's it going?
Nice.
Just bought the Scott Pendlebury 400 print. Ooh, very nice.
Oh.
Roberts,
it's going to be sad. It's going to be really sad if he ends up beating like Boomer Harvey's record. Like, I know that, you know, players can do that and it's the AFL and records are supposed to be broken, right? But it's going to be pretty sad if he ends up beating, you know, that. North Melbourne doesn't have something that they can hold their head onto, you know. We better start winning games because otherwise we're going to be in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you needed Boomer Harvey to play. I think you needed him. He was part of your best 22s, absolutely. He had more to give. At this point, I just feel like Pendlebury is only playing for the record at this point. Like, I don't think it is in the Pies' best interests for him to keep sticking around. Same thing with Sidebum. it's not in. I don't think it's in Collingwood's best interest for these old players to keep.
100% he will play. So I think from memory, he's got to play till 2026. Like in that year, 2026 year, 100% he'll play. Like,
yeah,
there's no way that they won't just be like a Goldstein, right? There's no way that they won't just be cool. Well, we'll hold him along. Cool, you come and play 6 games, but do it for the do it for the memes, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, Boomer Harvey, if you haven't seen it already, the guy's kicking goals at 46. Like, he looks still good. He could probably still play for Northern. Oh, it's so
yeah, he
sad,
could play
Joe.
somewhere else. He could play somewhere else.
It's so sad. He could have just kept playing for us.
Yeah, I know. Mate, a 161, unbelievable for Roberts.
Now, Roberts is one of those players. There's been a couple of them in the second half of the season that guys that we could have kept and that had just been scoring well. I don't know if there was a makeup change at Sydney and that's kind of where it's happened, but Roberts is one. I think Massimo the last few weeks, you could have kept him and you would have been very, very happy. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Pretty crazy. Big J, you finished top 1%, and that was 1,024th ranking.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see, Velo. We will see. We'll see. There's 4 more weeks to go. Breaking into the top 1K. That's the plan.
Yeah. On your Jono, yes, get around the Saints. First time in many years for back-to-back 50-plus wins. But yeah, I was telling Big J, honestly, like if the way we performed on the weekend, if it was against like a Bulldogs type team, that would have been 100 points plus.
Yeah.
It was nothing short of embarrassing and shameful, the effort. And, you know, Brad Scott said himself, third rate. Jonas, hey Big J, any news on Fish Poo and McLurch's injuries?
Nah, I mean, I didn't even know they had been injured until like when the team sheets came out. So yeah, I haven't heard anything, to be honest. I'll keep scouring Big Footy and waiting to see what happens. I don't know if it was, you know, general soreness or what it was, but yeah. I mean, you can kind of see what happened, right? They said, McKercher had the foot. Sorry, Fisher had the foot problem, and McKercher had, you know, soreness from the game before. Maybe that's just what it was. I'm not
sure. Hey, Murray Hart.
Murray? Thank you very much.
Mate. You're a legend, mate. Hey, guys, out of trades, going backwards now. Thought that buy a trade idea would be a great addition. Yeah, I know, man.
Yeah.
I'm the same.
You know what would be cool if you could, like, they had Supercoach Bank, where at the start of the season you could just bank your trades and then you wouldn't feel inclined to spend them. That'd probably be a good thing. Yeah, bank my trades until week 10 or week 15 or week 20. Cool. Yep, I've got 10 trades left, Joe.
Yeah, I'd love to put it away, and then I wouldn't be tempted into trading some fraud picks like Billings and Jordan and let's not remember.
During the season, it's a bit rough.
Yeah, 24.97. Good job, Michael. That's a good score. Nice. Travis, season over for Essendon. Mate, it was season over when we lost to Adelaide. I didn't even watch the game. I didn't even watch the game against the Saints. Would you believe me? Do you guys believe me? I honestly did not watch the game against the Saints. I saw the way we capitulated against Adelaide. I saw their heads dropping. I saw everyone shat themselves. And I'm like, these guys are not getting up. It's over. The belief is gone, and it's over. So I didn't even watch the game against the Saints. And thank God I didn't, because if I did, I'd be feeling a lot worse. I tuned in for like a couple of minutes to watch in the third quarter to see if there's some fight. But you know what?
Not really.
2 minutes was enough for me to see. Shawnee, g'day, Sean. If it makes you feel better, I scored the same as you, and both our teams are outside the 8, but I can't calm it down. Go Hawks, mate. Why would you be calm? The Hawks are up and about. The Hawks are unreal.
Well, Hawks are doing fantastic. I mean, even if you guys don't somehow make finals, right? Hypothetically, you guys just don't make finals, percentage, whatever happens. Like, the momentum and the feeling that you're building into the club, there's no way that other free agents and stuff won't look at the Hawks and be like, cool, this is a place I want to go and play for. Like, this is, and just look at how much fun they're having. Like, I haven't seen many AFL clubs look like they're genuinely having fun, like what Hawthorn's doing. I don't know what it is, but like North Melbourne, even the teams when they win, like you don't see them having this much fun. I think something, it's been pretty missed recently in the AFL.
Yeah, no, the Hawks are playing a wonderful brand of football, and I know my dad is a Hawthorn supporter, so I'm definitely rooting for them. And my dad's keeping track of every game, and he's super excited about potentially making it to the 8. So really hoping that the Hawks can continue to go up because they are absolutely flying. The umpire just threw it where it belongs in the gutter. It's true. It's true. It's very sad, very bad. Michael, great weekend camping in Margaret River. No footy, plenty of wine.
Nice.
Very nice, Michael. You got to avoid seeing Carlton lose on Friday night, so that's pretty good for you.
Yeah, that was a bit of a rough game, wasn't it? I mean, Blues fans aren't happy. Yes, they did have a few players out and whatnot, but you can only bring the team that you bring onto the field. And in terms of Supercoach, like Carlton did a lot better than what Port Adelaide did. So, yeah, bit of a rough loss, I think.
I mean, you could sort of see the short turnaround. Carlton played Sunday night, had to then play for Friday night. Whereas Port had the 2 extra days.
It feels like a bit of an excuse, though.
Plus, no Mackay. Late out
Mackay. He should have been out with concussion, so I'm not counting that.
But. Plus, no DeConning. Like, Carlton genuinely have... I know you might say it's an excuse, but I think that is sufficient. Those are sufficient things against them, which I think can warrant them having this as a mulligan. Plus, Port Adelaide have a pretty good record at Marvel Stadium as well. So I'm not one of those catastrophizers for Carlton. I think if they can get Mackay back and have a bit more of a rest, I think they'll have a good bounce back against Collingwood this coming week. But it was just too obvious. Their ball movement was so obvious without Mackay. It was straight to Curnow, and Young is just not good enough. So it became very predictable.
Zach Williams had been dominant for them in the forward line, and obviously he didn't play.
Exactly.
And then, they only had one good key forward there. So what are you going to do? Kick it to Durden? They don't really do that. Maybe that's a depth problem at Carlton. It puts a lot of pressure on someone like Owies to stick around, or the club to retain someone like him without, having to spend a lot of money, because depth might be a huge issue at Carlton.
Maltesing. G'day, Maltesing.
What's up, Maltesing?
Amazing week, Supercoach wise. No trades left. Nice. And scored 25-48. Have Rankin on the bench also. Go Pies. Well done.
Congratulations. I'm not sure when. Is Rankin back this week or next week, Joe? Or you're not sure?
I can quickly have a look on the injury list.
4 weeks, right? So I think he's back this week or next week. Anyway, it's bloody fantastic score. I should have scored a lot more than what I did. Bloody Bulldogs and Sydney game murdered my projections. So yeah, wasn't great. Yeah.
Sorry, Joe, you have hung shit on the Lions all season. I definitely hung shit on them at the start of the season because they had a very poor start to the season. And this is a team that made it to the grand final. So this is a team, when I don't know, it's when you have a lot of skill and you're a really good team, more is demanded from you. Whereas if a team is poor and you don't have many expectations for a team that's poor, you just sort of want them to win games and try and develop. But when it comes to the Lions, mate, the Lions are one of the top teams in the comp, and the way that they started was not flash. So the flack that they were copying at the start was warranted. But also, likewise, in the way that they've bounced back and turned their form around, that is something that absolutely needs to be applauded. and they've done an incredible job, and they've added Ashcroft back, and now they're winning some really good games. So massive kudos to the Lions. Absolutely. They could go all the way potentially. If they lock up top 2, that Carlton loss on the weekend did wonders for Brisbane. If Brisbane can finish top 2, we could end up with a Sydney-Brisbane grand final. We really could.
I would love that. I mean, it's going to fuel the all this talk of maybe they should move the game from the MCG every year, blah, blah, blah. But I always think it's the best thing you can do is to have the 2 best teams playing finals, right? So if that's Sydney and Brisbane, I mean, they've been the most dominant teams the entire year. Yes, they've lost games here and there, but no one's really like pushed them. No one's really made us think, holy shit, they're a lot better than Sydney and Brisbane. So yeah.
Cause I got 7 tips, bloody tipped Essendon and Gold
Me
Dust.
too. I'm going to check my tips right now. But I definitely know I got 7. And I think it was, I think I might have tipped Essendon. Who did I miss? Let me quickly check.
I got 7 as well. I tipped Carlton and Essendon. I tipped Essendon just on the off chance that somehow we rallied, but obviously that was dumb in hindsight. But I tipped Carlton. I thought Carlton would win. But yeah, I got 7 tips. Got the Bulldogs tip right, which I was really happy with.
That's the big one. Round 9, round 20. Yeah. So Carlton got wrong, and Essendon. Everyone else we got right. So
yep. Jonas, I went to the Demons versus Giants game Saturday night. 16,000 included, about 250 Giants fans.
Bonkers, hey. It's bonkers there. I reckon North Melbourne probably end up having more fans show up than a Melbourne game at the moment. Yes, it was versus Giants, right? So you're not expecting a lot of Giants fans to show up. Like, unless they're Melbourne-based, they're not showing up. I don't think many of them actually live in Sydney anyway, so you probably dodged a bit of a bullet. But, yeah, North Melbourne at the moment, for how bad we are, I think we'll have more fans than Melbourne. MCC members a bit stuck up, Joe. They won't show up if they're not winning.
Mate, that's going to happen this week when the Bombers play Fremantle at the MCG. I would not be surprised if next to no one shows up for that game. Really, I would not be surprised.
People will show up, right? People will show up because they're Bombers.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're a little bit sneaky at the moment, and all these Melbourne fans are a little bit like, well, if the way the team's going and whatnot, we can't affect the performance on fields, but less people showing up, maybe that puts a little bit of pressure on the coach to keep him around. What do you reckon? No. Okay. No.
I'm not going to
safe regardless.
No, I'm not risking the VC on him, Jonas, at all. Personally, I don't know how he's going to pull up. I'm more likely to go with Bontempelli against Melbourne, to be honest, than I am to go Gawn. So,
yeah, 100%.
Yeah. G'day, Sportsnut. Yes, great win for the Hawks. Absolutely.
Doing very, very well, Hawthorn. Very, very well.
North should have kept Petrie and Harvey at the time. They should have retired on their own accord. And Ferreira and Del Santo, yeah.
It was a bit sad seeing Petrie play his last few games at West Coast. So, yeah, could have got rid of them and then got rid of the other ones in 2018. I think we dropped him in 2017, 16, 2017. So, yeah, could have actually made finals that last year too. Unlucky.
Corey, how could you possibly tip the Suns against the Lions? He believed. They never lose at home until now.
Yeah. Come on, Corey. That's a bit rough, mate.
Boomer still getting, mate. Boomer might still get a few games at a few clubs, mate. He is.
Yeah,
I'd love that.
He's still very. There's a lot of clubs that want pacey small forwards. I mean, he's still quick. He can still run around and do stuff. So yeah, bit rough.
Legend captaining Sheasel last week has now moved my average captain score to almost 140.
That's bloody mate. Maybe we should get you on every week next year, and you can come do the legend picks or something like that. Because I think I'm probably averaging like 90 at the moment with how crappy some of my picks have been. Ended up with the cherry 151, so very, very happy there. But yeah, you've done very, very well. As a North supporter, I'm very glad that Sheets doing this well, and it's going to be surprising having to pick him as probably a mid-only selection next year in Supercoach, and how many people will actually keep him or have to scramble to bring him in like round 4.
Mate, he's still worth it.
Yeah.
Still worth it for me. Multi-thing Pendles needs to play another 2 seasons to get to Harvey.
Yes.
Rubbish show. We have no one else in the 2s. Who would you play? There isn't anyone.
Well, that's the issue, right? Like that's the club's fault, to be honest.
I mean, I don't know who you guys have in the 2s, but regardless, I definitely think that as long as he's playing and he's getting midfield time, and that's time and effort and development that could go into someone. Like, no one thought a Caldwell or a Durham could explode and perform their way that they did when they're given that time in the midfield. Like, you just don't know what you've got on the list. But as long as it's being taken up by players who more than likely will not be in your next premiership tilt, it just means that that's less development that you've got for those players in the 2s that you don't know who's going to pop up. So that's a question for the club, I guess, ultimately. Michael, match review hunting Eagles last week. I actually didn't even pay attention. Who's been cited by the M? I know there was a lot of money was being spent on on fines last week.
Yeah, it's bloody bonkers. Zach Butters and fines. Tell you what, boys. Holy moly!
Oh, that was hilarious for sure. He's now the most fined player. He's now more fined than Toby Green.
Mm-hmm.
Collingwood are only just keeping Pendles for the record, in my opinion. Now would be a perfect time to retire, but that's only my opinion.
Yeah, and they'll keep him. They'll keep him going.
Causa Roberts got subbed or started sub a few times. Yeah, whilst also playing on a wing as soon as Lloyd came back. And it wasn't just Lloyd. It was Lloyd and it was someone else. Rampy. Sorry, it was Rampy. Rampy came back into the team and it sort of displaced Roberts and it started playing a bit more wing as well. So Roberts, to hold on to Roberts at this point is unreal. But yeah, there was a period of time where his scoring wasn't great for those reasons. G'day, Unbranded. Hoops, I'm going to read your things together, so don't mind me. Legend, I'm no longer a Bont lover. I am now a Sheezel lover. My second favorite team is Harry Sheezel.
There you go. It's crazy, Joe. So if Harry Sheezel gets, I think it's 84 disposals in the next four games of the season. Is it 4 or 5 games to go? I think it's 4 games to go, right? If he gets 84 possessions in the next 4 games, he will have broken the records games holder for North Melbourne players in a season. So, like, how many disposals they've got? It's bonkers. For a 19-year-old kid in his second year of AFL, to be right, like I would not be surprised if he doesn't get all Australian in his second year of AFL, the way that he's been playing. If he comes home and gets a couple more 30-odd possession games with a few goals, like, the only thing that's holding him back is the fact that he plays for North Melbourne. Like purely, that's it. Yeah.
Ben, I scored 25.69.
Nice work, Ben.
First time player. Why can't I trade? Is it because I used an extra trade the past few rounds? It might be because you're out of trades, Ben.
Yeah, probably.
Like the rest of us with 0 trades left. I love it. Velo, Joe, Essendon might win in round 22. Mate, Velo, we're losing that. The fact that the Suns lost their first game at home, now they're going to win their first game in Victoria, and it will be against the Bombers, round 22, Marvel Stadium. We are not winning another game for the year. It's done and dusted. And to be honest, it's a bit of a relief not having to worry about my team's performance now for the next month of football, because we've already checked out. So easy days from here on out for the Bombers fans.
Yep.
I have so much to say. Shut up, Andrew McGrath. have a look at what he said. Actually, don't.
Yeah, it's
And I
crazy. I know we were talking about it off air, Joe, but just like how up and down Andy McGrath's performance has been. 2016 maybe wasn't the best draft year for him, but yeah, bit of a rough one there, I think. The fact that the club's so adamant to keep him as well, instead of being like, cool, what can we get for Andy McGrath? It's not great.
Andy McGrath is
Someone
a
will pay
nice
something
boy.
for him.
He's a nice boy. He's a good boy, like a lot of the
Sounds like
boys
something
are
Craig
at
Bell would
Essendon.
say. He's a good boy.
You know what I mean? Like that's the Essendon team. A bunch of good boys, people that you'd be happy to take your introduce your daughter to, marry them. They're good boys from good families, but there's no mongrel to him. Andy McGrath just keep having a sook and telling us, oh, we feel hurt. We feel the pain. Bish, we heard you say that 2 years ago. Whoa, we're feeling the pain and we suck. Mate, you have no leadership whatsoever against the Crows. You are the vice captain of the club, and we just capitulated to the point where Brad Scott says we don't have enough leadership on field. We bring back Dyson Heppel. Dyson Heppel is washed.
Yep.
He is so washed, but the fact that your leadership is so poor that Brad Scott felt we need to bring back the experienced campaigner to the back line. That just goes to show. So Andy McGrath, yes, I agree with you, Hoops. Shut up and let your football do the talking. Let your football do the talking. But you know what?
Andy McGrath, shut up.
Shut up, Andy McGrath. I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to hear from you. Just play better. You're a footballer. Play better. We don't want you to speak better. We don't want you to be Darcy Moore. Stuff Darcy Moore. He also sucks. We don't want talkers. We want players who actually stand up. So we're in the graveyard because of you and the lack of leadership and everyone not buying in. So shut up, Andy McGrath.
At some point, the more established, mature age players need to stand up, and it's something that a lot of North Melbourne fans haven't been talking as much about with someone like LDU. Being one of the more experienced players on field. If he doesn't have a good day, that's when they don't do well. Same with Andy McGrath. Yes, he doesn't play the best position on field, but it wasn't the best day. He didn't even have 20 touches on the weekend. Like, he had one tackle playing as a defender.
Yep. And I booked tickets to Freo versus Essendon a while ago. I don't know. You don't have to go, Hoops, if you're terrified so much, and understandably so. You don't have to actually go, mate. So do yourself a favor. The chill.
What's up, chill?
I might need to chill a little bit.
What's
right on time? Boys, I have one trade and I have Warner. Do I make the trade or hold this guy? What a fraud.
What is Warner priced at? Let me see.
He's a fraud, apparently.
500K. That's the only issue. Depending on how much money you've got left, you can always do a trade to someone, but 500K doesn't get you much these days. I think a lot of players, even a Sam Walsh, is 517. It's a bit of a rough time at the moment. I think. I don't know. Yes. He seemed Warner's very polarizing, I'll have to say, and he's the one that when the team's doing well, he does well. But when you verse another team that has a strong midfield, Warner's really the one that falls off because he'll have someone on him that can actually start doing like the things that you need to stop, how to stop players and whatnot. So, yeah, it's a bit of a rough one.
Let's have a look at his numbers.
I think his brother did better than him on the weekend, which is pretty funny.
What is the Chad doing these days? What? He scored 38?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his brother scored like 20 points more than him. Pretty funny. Hopefully they're brothers, otherwise. Yeah.
Holy moly. Look, to be fair, they got destroyed. The Dogs destroyed them. So when you're destroyed around the ball, I can understand why he scored so bad. They were taken to the cleaners. They were ripped to shreds, the Swans, on the weekend. So look, I doubt that'll happen to them again this year, to be fair. Go Hawks, says Ben. Yes. Yeah, I was telling that to Big J on off the air. That the Roos are in a better position because they've had more losses in the recent times, but you know, I'd much rather lose and get top draft picks than lose and finish middle of the table every year. So you know, if we're gonna lose, we didn't lose correctly. And if we were trying to win, well, we didn't win either. So stuck in mediocrity. Classic Essendon.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, right? You look at someone like if you're stuck in mid-table for so long, it's like a St Kilda. It's partly why St Kilda have been struggling so much, is because they're not winning finals, they're not winning grand finals, and they're being stuck basically in that middle of the ground type position, and it's not good for them. You can't get good draft picks. And the only reason why they're probably going to get a couple of good draft picks this year is because, you know, maybe they've tanked a little bit, but also because Battle's leaving. So, yeah, you need a good selection of picks that are early and picks that are not. And if you look at teams, I think Melbourne tanked probably the 2014s around there and then have been doing well since then. Bulldogs probably haven't, but they've just been very, very lucky, especially with getting Jamara at such a low, like high draft pick. But, you know, Brisbane were on the bottom of the ladder for so long and then got a couple of players and got Dunkley and ended up getting Neil and now doing fantastic. So, yeah, it needs to be up and down, basically, AFL. If you're stuck in the middle all the time, you really struggle.
We don't deserve Zach Merritt. Yeah, no, I've said it many times that we don't deserve Zach Merritt. It's
you know what's funny? I don't know if you saw this, Joe, but there was a rumor going around today that St Kilda had actually tried to see who would go after Jack Steele last year in the trade period. So pretty crazy, huh?
Pretty interesting. I've seen enough to start Will Day next year if he has a good preseason. Yeah, I agree.
Yep. Same for me too. Really depends on price to see kind of where he's at and what's happening there, but 100%. I mean, the guy's a bloody fantastic player and, you know, probably he's going to be a pod. He's not a name that a lot of people are going to pick, which is the crazy thing. So depending on price, go for it, I think.
Yeah, no, I love it. I've been talking about this year as well. I definitely love this guy. And ever since he came back in after his injury,
Hawthorn been doing well.
Is when Hawthorn just turned the corner and started dominating. So he came in round 7, and then from that point on, it's just been mostly a Hawk avalanche. So now he's been excellent. And Louise, Essendon should merge with someone now. We will never be a powerhouse again.
No, it'll happen. It's just a bit of a rough patch at the moment, I think.
Not sure who would want to merge with us at the moment, Anne Louise, but look, we're just going to have to somehow trust the system. It's been multiple coaches come and gone. Clearly, the problem is with these senior experienced players that we've got. I'd just shop them around, see who you can trade them out for, and play the kids. I think we have kids. I think we've got sufficient kids going through the VFL who are craving opportunity. And if we don't play them, they're going to go elsewhere. And I'd much rather keep those kids than keep these mature age Muppets who have kept us stuck in the poor culture for so long. So that's we're going to have to make some really tough list calls, Anne Louise. Really tough list calls.
Would you keep Dylan Shield, Joe? I know there's some talk that he wants to leave. Well, not he wants to leave, but people will leave and whatnot. You wouldn't keep him?
No, trade him. We need to play Sardis. We need to play Hobbs.
Well, Sardis and Hobbs are probably going to go if they don't get games. True.
These are the mids that we need to play. Not the Shields, not the Stringers, not these guys to the midfield. Their time is gone. Yanko, g'day, Yanko.
How you doing?
In your opinion, what was the highlight of the season?
If we're talking super coach, it was probably when Harry Sheezel went from being a defender to a midfield and everyone jumped off and then he started scoring well and everyone's like, holy shit, got to get him back again. For me, yeah, maybe that's just a bit of North bias, but I thought that was pretty funny. Highlight of the AFL season, I'm not quite sure. I think personally, kind of the rise of Hawthorn. I don't have all this Hawthorn angst like some people do. They had all their 4 Petes and Clarko era and the time before that and blah blah blah. But yeah, just nice to kind of see the atmosphere that they're bringing back to the game. Something special, and I think a lot of clubs should emulate that.
I honestly have no idea what my highlight is of the Supercoach season. Like, I actually don't even know what highlight I had. Trading out Grundy to Marshall, and then trading out Marshall to Gawn. I think that might be. Oh no, sorry, to have Sweet and then cop 2 sweet donuts before getting in Gawn, and then Gawn gets injured.
Sweet. That was the biggest load of shit ever. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, the Ruck merry-go-round, I think, probably was the Supercoach highlight for me. It's just been one dodgy season from start to finish. And then from a football perspective, look, I've said this to Big J. I thought our win against GWS earlier on in the season was probably the best win I've seen from Essendon. Probably, especially like the whole second half, it was just a domination. I honestly thought that was the best half of football I've seen Essendon play in a decade. So I'm going to say that was the highlight of my football season. Enough talking about my crap club. My super coach is pretty interesting. Picked up Jezza, has the easiest run home and getting in cogs this week. Risky, but I've noticed that having pods are super important. Thoughts?
Yeah, it's something that I found with Ed Richards the last couple of weeks. Maybe not so much his level of scoring, but just the consistency, I think, is definitely something to look at. It's more that the pods only work, though, if, like, everyone else's player, that's the equivalent. Well, if they're good. But then if everyone else's player's equivalent, like, scores crap. So, yeah, that'd probably be my biggest thing. It's nice to have. They're great to have at the start of the season because you end up having, like, Lockie Neal's gone fantastic and I don't have him, blah, blah, blah. And I think like your Elliot Yos and your McGoverns at the start of the season were pods, right, Joe? Like not many people had picked them. They're popping out primo scores. You know, a lot of people had to try and spend trades and jump on. I think that was something good that way. But right now, just pick the most consistent players that you can get, really. If Cameron's doing well, fantastic. Chuck him in your team at the price that he is. But yeah, I wouldn't be actively searching out pods right now.
Yeah. Our effort after halftime was pathetic. It was crap. And can we please play Murkov over Shitane? Look, Shitane wasn't bad. I thought he was serviceable.
Yeah, I think it just sucks that maybe you don't have TDK for a while and you get stuck playing this player. But as Joe says, Pitnet is only a service of the team, right? Cool. One Ruckman doesn't make or break the team. No Mackay, missing out on a few other players. Probably, like I look down the list, right? Fogarty, 1 behind. Like Motlop, 1 goal. Like the Hollands brothers didn't really do that much either. So, yeah, there are a lot more worse players on field. Teams with crappy Ruckman still win AFL games. So, yeah, it's not just the only thing.
He's better than the buffoon, the moron that is Sam Draper. So it could be worse, fellow.
You could probably swap them at the end of the year, Joe.
Oh, I'd do it. Legend, I can now finally rest Petty. Actually kicked the goal this week.
There you go.
Rankin has another week to go.
Okay, cool. Yeah. He'll be a big one for a lot of people to get back.
Yeah.
If you've held Rankin and maybe had a Manor or a Dowling or someone. It's another 100 scoring player that people aren't going to have a donut for. So expect some bigger scores, I think.
Yeah. Look, you got a lot of out that would be in your best 22, Jonas. So I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned.
I would say pretty crazy, Jonas, but Jack Martin's contract. I mean, how many good games have he got out of what his 700K plus a year? Maybe 8, like in total. It's not that many. I wouldn't be happy as a Blues fan with that kind of contract.
Frankie, VC, Sheasel, and today cost last week till I undid my changes. I ended up having to see Butters having no luck this year. Oh no.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. What? You didn't take Sheasel's 160?
No, he changed it. He changed his VC and C. So Sheasel wasn't his VC anymore.
Frankie, why do you do this to yourself? It's not good. Don't do it.
Not good. Youngcore, favorite trade of the year. Look, I liked trading in. I thought when I traded in LDU, I got him at a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Player I've enjoyed watching. I've really enjoyed watching Harry Sheasel. Pretty obvious answer. I think Will Day has also been really good for the Hawks. We've sort of mentioned him. He's been a ripper player. They're the first two that come to mind when it comes to what I've enjoyed watching. In my team, who have I enjoyed watching the most? I've really liked Jai Caldwell's game this year as well as Sam Durham. Worst trade of the year is trading out Grundy to get Marshall.
Yeah, Grundy was a bit of a miss, wasn't he? I mean, the last couple of weeks haven't been great, but yeah, I think for me, best trade this year, our favorite trade of the year was probably Fisher. Trading Fisher to Caldwell, basically straight swap. I think it cost me like 20K or something and ended up getting a 140, 160, and then a couple of decent scores after that. So very happy. Some people still have him on the bench as a donut. Favorite player that I enjoy watching is probably Big Tristan Cherry, being a North Melbourne fan. Like, I was going to say Harry Sheasel, the kid's a gun, whatever. Joe stole my player, so stuff you. And then said Cherry as well, so stuff you again. But yeah, it's just nice to kind of see a little bit of progression and a bit of a up yours St Kilda for not spending a second round pick on him. Good to see. Kind of a Ruckman's very good. I know we spoke about Pitnet not being a must have and a must best player, but it's nice when one of those type of players is on your team. Most frustrating. If we did most frustrating pick, Joe, most frustrating player in your team that you've got.
Freaking Matt Rowell, the piece of shit.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fair. I was going to say Tim English for me. Like, you should have seen me trying to wish the mojo on Tim English on the weekend. Holy moly. That was bad.
Matt Rowell is worse. Matt Rowell. Oh, Matt Rowell.
You got a couple of good scores out of him at the start.
Such a long, long time ago. Actually, yes. Yes, Ghost. Frickin' McKercher. Stuff you. Never
Next year,
again,
I'm
bro.
starting McKercher. That's it.
Right. We trade him out when he gets injured because we trade him back in because it looks good. He gets injured again, so we trade him out. He's finally back, so we trade him in only for him to get injured again. Stuff you. Stuff you, mate. Causer predicted Brisbane and the Giants at the start of the year. Hopefully could come off. He could.
Yeah. Giants are definitely pushing up as well. I think it just depends on fixture and getting everyone back.
Yeah, just one of the three boys from the 100K Sports said St Kilda. Everyone else on the bench said Essendon. Like I said, I had no confidence tipping the Bombers, and I didn't start them. I told them, you guys go and convince me. So yeah, I brought in Ed Richards a few weeks, paid off. Very nice. Maltese Melbourne fans have gone to the snow. I made that joke as well. I like it. Globes. G'day, Globes. How's it going, brother?
Up, Global.
Richmond only got 19,000 versus the Giants. What
Yeah.
fair weather supporters. Such fair weather supporters.
That's why you should just all play at Marvel. We got a roof. Like, weather doesn't matter. You can really tell, like, when someone's devoted at that point, Joe.
Mate, just need to put a roof on the MCG. Just someone put a roof on there.
Why not? Why not?
Dacos was captain this week and Sherry the VC.
Nice. That's all right. Not too bad.
Melbourne affair with the fans. There you go. Parrish was killer for Essendon. Killed Caldwell for sure.
Yeah.
Causa, you'd think that. But Brad Scott
on Friday.
Brad Scott did something even more stupid than that. Jake Stringer, 72% CBAs for Jake Stringer.
Brad Scott.
Jake Stringer, 72% CBAs.
Brad Scott, what a great coach, Joe.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
What a great coach.
You cut Sam Durham's in half. Jai Caldwell loses 20%. So that obviously Parrish comes in, right? He has 45%. Why is Jake Stringer getting 72% CBAs? That is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Everyone is praising Hawks right now, but if we lose a couple, be ready to say they're getting ahead of themselves with the photos and stuff. No.
I truly, I don't think so. I think they're bringing a lot of fun back to the game, and a lot of teams, I would love if it was a bit more like American football, where the teams celebrate and things like that. Even when people get a win, it's like, cool, oh, we got the win, and then we walk off. Like, it's something that I think a lot of the AFL's missing.
Yep. 2605. Wow, nice. Very nice. Back-to-back top 1,000 weekly, gone from 10K 2 weeks ago up to 5K on your Globes.
Congratulations.
Murray, VC Flanders into Shazel. Captain average for me is 126. Not too bad. Not too shabby.
Pretty good.
Big fan of content. Was going to VC Shazel, but I went to the game with some Carlton fans, so I changed it to Butters, forgetting Chincotta exists. Worth it seeing Carlton lose, though.
Yeah, no, 100%. I don't know what's up with Butters. The last couple of weeks, I think he's been copping a bit more attention and kind of fallen off. I mean, I don't feel bad that I've got Butters in my Supercoach team. Far from it. But I don't know if it was the tag this week. Last week definitely hurt us as well. So, yeah, one of those players, I think throughout the season, you definitely have players who almost jump off targets, right? Like, cool, he's been out of form for a month. He's in my team, but I won't pick him as a captain. That's what Butters is like at the moment.
Mate, how funny was Chincotta? Chincotta was doing a tag of the universe. He was going from Butters to Rosie to Houston, back to Butters. Like it was a freaking disco, boy. You spin my tag right around. Like, honestly, it was ridiculous. He was tagging everybody and their mum, maybe.
But that's almost how it should be, though, I think. Like, if a player's in the position that you want to nullify, that's the player you go to, right? Like, you don't just follow them around. I think players generally get in trouble. But, like, you look at a Port Adelaide, their team is so strong. Butters, Rosie, I talk about Houston, like a William Drew, all these midfielders, and Horn Francis even, that you almost tag the position on field. You don't tag the player. Otherwise, you do just, like, burn out. So, yeah, worked out okay for him.
Yeah, that's true. Wardlaw was lucky.
So yeah, Corey, I have a feeling Wardlaw is going to be a bit unlucky. It's my prediction that Wardlaw is not going to win Rising Star this year. I think Dempsey's jumped out in front over the last couple of weeks, and we're really going to have to go home strong for it to be Wardlaw. Like, Dempsey's just put his jets on, and I think to the selectors, having both of them basically playing each other this weekend or last weekend's really kind of cemented quite a lot. Unfortunately, of course.
Sorry, still trying to go over that cough. Boys, can you rate my club? Have one trade left. Titans rule. I'll have a look while we're going through the comments, Travis. Joe, our reserves team, because of the lack of players, because of injuries, is last, and most of the twos are using fill-up players. Well, that's unfortunate in relation to injuries, but still, when it comes to the long-term prosperity of the club, everyone gets injuries, but
yeah,
they should be back though. It's not like I don't think they're all season-ending injuries for next year, but I mean, if the club is in dire straits, then I guess fair enough. I'm liking Rayner for next season. Yeah, I called Rayner on the coaches panel last week. He was looking the goods.
You did. I was quite impressed. I even mentioned it on the Discord this weekend.
Boys, do you think apart from Pendles, obviously, any other current day players will get to 400? I'm thinking Sheasel if no injuries or Merritt.
Yeah, I think Sheasel, I'm not sure about Merritt's like injury history, but I think Sheasel's one of those players that already he's talking about injury load management and keeping his body healthy and all that kind of stuff. Like at this point at 19, he's doing that. So it will really just come down to games played more than anything else. And hopefully no like crazy ACL injuries and whatnot. I think there'll be some more players. I think generally the AFL being just like sports science and whatnot, like injuries that would have crippled someone for the rest of their career, players are coming back from now. So you'll find a few more 400s. At some point, Boomer Harvey's going to get broken, probably by Pendles, let's be honest. They'll play him for 2 more years, but yeah, just how it goes.
Trav, your team is looking really good. I'm looking at it now. Nothing really obvious apart from perhaps maybe Hugh McCluggage is not the most flash M8.
No.
If you've got some money, you can maybe flip him to someone else.
Billy Dowling or Humphreys. You could probably end up scoring more than McCluggage at the moment.
Well, he's got Humphreys and Billy and Billy
well, at least he's got a loop then, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Legend Rivers needs to work on his tank. He's averaging 13 disposals in the first quarter, only 15 combined for the rest of the game.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, huh? I mean, we know how good the player is, but I do think that midfield role probably came on a little bit earlier than what they had been planning him for. Like, I could have seen that it would be a case of, well, Petrarca plays main midfield now. Next year, Rivers makes a move to the midfield. There has been games throughout the year and previous years where he has played stints in there. So he was the one that was going to come in and play the midfield. But to be thrust in there now, because, they're still pushing for finals if they can make it. They want to be competitive, right? So he, as you say, he's probably just gassing out a bit. 1 or 2 more pre-seasons and whatever worth of training. Hopefully it works out for them.
Yeah. Imagine Don somehow win against Freo, then all of a sudden your season's back. We're not going to win against Freo. And if we win against Freo, I will be so pissed off. Like, you sons of bitches. Where was that the last 2 weeks against Adelaide and St Kilda? If you can beat Fremantle, why can't you beat Adelaide without Rankin and Tex and all those injuries during the game? If you can beat, you only need to be lambasted, and you need everyone to give up on you for you to finally decide to come out and play good. Like, honestly, there's no winning. There's no winning for us, Sportsnut. It's another season down the drain. Essendon and Carlton will win the same amount of games to end the season, 1 win each. Mate, if we win 1, I'd be glad to see it. Is that Nathan Jones sitting behind you, Big J?
No, it's Max Gawn. Max Gawn, not Nathan Jones. I don't get it.
Why do you have Max Gawn inflatable in your room?
You missed it before, right? There you go, Max Gawn. I said the story before. It was I was just at Coles, right? And because they try and offload all this year's AFL stuff because it's cheap and whatever. So I went and bought an inflatable, and I was just like, cool. If I've got someone for the stream that's in my Supercoach team, like, might as well, just something to put in the background.
Not too bad.
Not realizing that it actually said Max Gawn on there, and I felt pretty chuffed that I had got Max Gawn. So there you go, Max Gawn.
Very nice. What did Andy McGrath say, lol? Oh, you want to see what Andy McGrath had to say? Andy McGrath, laments lack of effort, acknowledges response needed. Bish, you're not supposed to lament this. You're supposed to come in with effort.
Do it. Why are you saying it? More effort.
Exactly. You're not supposed to say, oh, we came in with lack of effort. Come in with effort. No need to lament then, is there? Acknowledges response needed. Vice captain eager to turn season around. Mate. He admits there's an array of disappointment. Saturday's loss to Essendon was caused by his side's lack of effort and intent. This is supposed to be non-negotiable. This is the bottom of the barrel type stuff. Going out and trying. Trying is not something that you have to try and muster up. They were outplayed by a hungrier Saints outfit. Blah, blah, blah. We didn't show up the way we wanted to yesterday. We didn't bring the level of intensity to the game that's required at AFL level. And when you don't bring that, you found out pretty quickly. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Wow. If you don't try in a professional competition, you lose. Oh, who would have thunk that? Mate, you are a rocket scientist, Andy McGrath. Rocket scientists. We're bitterly disappointed. We're hurting like our fans are. And it was a pretty grim sleep post-game, that's safe to say. Shut up. You're not hurting like the fans.
Shut up.
The fans care more about the club than the players do. We get nothing. We get nothing from the club's performances other than either enjoyment or sadness. You get paid. You are there for a job. You don't care like we do. So shut up, Andy McGrath. You know nothing. Effort should be unconditional. Really? So you know that, and yet you didn't do it anyway. Some vice captain you are. We pride ourselves to bring that every week. That doesn't require talent or any system or game plan. Quite frankly, a game plan doesn't stack up when you don't have a certain level of that. Well, you know this so well. Well done, Andy McGrath. See what a good boy he is. He says wonderful things. Money, Joe. He says wonderful things. He says the right things, doesn't he? He's such a great talker. It's a shame he's not a good footballer. Rather than shy away from the challenge before them, McGrath says the Bombers will endeavour to do everything in their power to return to the winners list. We've had an interesting month. It hasn't looked the way we wanted it to. Oh, I'm glad. The pressure just builds, and that would be building, regardless of whether we're winning or losing at the moment. We just have to bunker down and stick to what we do. There's no point shying away from the mentality that we're in. We need to get back into form and get back into form quickly, and we'll do everything in our power this week to get there. To our fans and everyone who's following us, we're hurting just as much as you guys. No, you're not. You're not. So shut up. And we're hell-bent on getting things right this week and coming out on Sunday fit and firing and making amends for the last few weeks because we know we haven't been up to scratch. Our destiny's in our own hands and we need to respond. Such a beautiful, eloquent little, call to action, right? The problem is you have been impotent for weeks. The last few weeks. And you know all of this. You know that effort is unconditional. You know that you shouldn't be shying away from it. But what's been happening? It's been getting worse. So shut up. I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to see your face. Play the game. Put your head down, your bum up, and actually try. You're not feeling the pain that we're feeling. We're the ones who've been ridiculed for 20 years of nothing. You've been there for what? 5 years? 6 years? We've been bullied for 20 years and it's going to continue. So shut up.
Shut up.
And thank you for listening to my TED talk. Shut up.
Shut up.
How long till I stop saving my 2 trades for injury and use it to upgrade Dowling, Manor, Richards to a 23rd premium?
You know what you can do? you can probably I'm not going to say what I'm going to say. All you just got to do is just make sure that you've got coverage, right? That's the big thing. So when one of those players gets good enough that you're happy that they can cover the mid and the forward line, you bring in a 102K player and you get someone that you need to get in. Like, there's 4 rounds left, right? If you've got defender coverage, you've got, enough money out of both of these players, do it. 100%. If you've got someone that you're looking at, that you want to get a Dunkley versus like a Richmond and a West Coast or something like that, and you've got enough money out of trading these 2 players, do it. 100%. There's 4 weeks to go. You've just got to be able to dodge the problems, basically.
Exactly. I love this, Carl. I love this. Joe Hop, the long run in the bowling express. Batsman, shut up. I'm just bowling a ball of shut up. It's going to say shut up on the ball.
Shut up.
Love your passion. Cheers, Murray. I mean, that's all we've got at the moment. Seriously. Joe's, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, Sean. I'm going to do it. No shit, Sherlock. Effort? Really? No shit. 100%. Effort is all of us fans want to see. 100%. If the players put effort in and we can say, hey, at least we had a crack. Exactly. Yep. There is losing and then there is losing. Like, if you go out, bust your gut, try hard, but get beat by a better team on the day, we can walk out of there having witnessed a good game and proud of the efforts and say, well done to the other side. They can get all of their plaudits because they won a cracking game of football. Not everyone's going to win, of course. But if you rock up and admit that you've put in no effort whatsoever and that you've lost because you haven't tried, that is something entirely different. Because if you're not going to, who are we going to go and support? As supporters, we're going to try and support you to get over the line. But if you're not going to try to even put yourself in a position for us fans to try and will you over the line, for us to be an extra player and use our excitement and our voice to give you some more momentum, if you're not going to help yourself, we can't help you. And if we can't help you and you can't help yourself, then it's a ruin. It's a failure. And it's just, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
I feel the same about North Melbourne, right? Like, cool. You might not come in there and win every game and demolish people and whatnot, but as long as you don't give up on field, we want competitive games. Like, I hate the talk about, they'll get better in the preseason. That's when their fitness will improve. I'm like, mate, do you guys not do running? Like, do you guys not do skills training throughout the week at training? Do you guys not? I understand recovery, but like a lot of the time things feel like excuses, and that might be kind of the situation.
Brad Scott is not a risk taker, and he needs to be. At this point,
he needs to.
The crazy thing is, the risk that he took, you say that, Anne Louise, but he did take a risk. He brought back Darcy Parish this week. He hasn't played since round 9. This is a
Did he even play VFL?
No, not even VFL.
There you go. That's the problem.
He's just brought him back cold turkey since round 9. Of course he's going to be rusty and he's going to be shit. He hasn't played football in 11 weeks. Of course he's going to be bad. And you bring him in for a do or die clash. There are risks, Anne, that you can take, but they need to be calculated risk. This was just dumb. Dumb. And Stringer, 72% CBAs? Mate, give me the gig at Essendon. Seriously. I hate watching Carlton games because it's a reminder that we drafted Sam Wiedemann over Curnow and Mackay.
Yeah, pretty much. Hey.
Guess where he is now, legend? He's with us now. Murray, I'm a Swans fan. Dogs killed them all over the field. It was unreal. The Dogs were scintillating.
Yeah.
They were very impressive. Michael says all the props for the Roos are going to pay up big time in the next couple of years.
I hope so. I don't know. There hasn't been probably as much as what there should have been, but like we did get a couple of draft picks, and the concessions last year were nice, enabling us to actually get a few players across the line. So hopefully it works out. But a lot of it is just being driven by like a Harry Sheasel and a Wardlaw and these young kids with high draft picks, and finally some of the mature age players in the team actually stepping up. So hopefully we can get a few more, and then we're cooking.
It's gone. Only graveyards this year. Only graveyards. Hoops. We need a dynamic forward. Well, hopefully Sardin Holder can play. He was going to be dynamic for us before he did his syndesmosis injury. He was guaranteed going to play for sure. And hopefully we can
ready to go.
And hopefully Kako, who we get in the draft, will be good for us as well.
Mm-hmm.
Ghost, I got a hard question. Do I trade Powell and Dowling, who I've been rotating F6, or trade both for a primo and a rookie, but then no cover and no trades left? Who's Powell?
He's from North Melbourne.
The North Melbourne Powell?
Oh. Yeah, you still got him. Who have been rotating at F6 for a primo and rookie, but then cover no.
He's got 101 on the weekend. Why were you trading him out?
Yeah, that's probably the big thing. I would probably hold, if I had your situation, hold for like 2 more weeks and then make the trade really. But if Powell's scoring okay, that's about it.
He's got Richmond and West Coast in the next 2 weeks as well. He's got Richmond and West Coast. I reckon he'll do well for those next 2 games.
We're going to cook, mate. Cook 2 more wins. North Melbourne's going to beat his record, I think, from last year. Hopefully.
The chance last year to F off Parrish for 2 first-round picks and get games into the end. Look, Parrish is he's one of our best. He's our best clearance mid. We need him, but we need him fit and firing. Not this version of Parrish who comes off 11 weeks of no football. That's unrealistic completely.
Yeah.
So
that's the tricky thing. That's the tricky thing, right? Like Melbourne fans go back and say, "Oh, should have traded Petty for 6 first-round picks. Should have traded Oliver at his max price." And these kind of trades you just don't know until they happen. So yeah, it's sometimes things work out and then some things don't work out, unfortunately.
G Money, was the whole Essendon edge thing meaning that they'll end up on the edge of the top 8? Mate, it's
pretty much.
It's pretty much means that the Essendon fans are lining up on the edge of a cliff. G Money, that's what it means. Global, my highlight is starting with Sherry. Very nice.
There you go. Yep.
In your view, who will replace Harris Andrews for Brisbane? Did Starcevic play on the weekend? If Starcevic played, then I don't know. You're better off asking.
Brandon Starcevic did play. Yes,
he did. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm not entirely sure. I don't know what the. Is it Payne? Is Payne still in Payne, or is he back from his injury?
He did not play. He did not play on the weekend.
Harris Andrews. He was only supposed to miss 1 week, is he? And he missed it last week. Isn't he back? Harris Andrews should be back this week. He missed last week, and then he should be playing this week. So I don't think anyone's going to be replacing him. Oh, wait. Maybe who in Brisbane gets taken out for Harris Andrews? Or anybody.
Yeah.
Harris Andrews is a walk-in to that backline, mate.
I think most people are walking to that back line. Yes, Velo, we did meet everyone, and that, of course. But we were talking football, not outside of the football. But nice pick up there.
Bobby. G'day, Bobby. How's it going, brother? Who would you rather fight, 100 frog-sized Patrick Cripps or 100 Cripps-sized frogs?
I think I could take 100 frog-sized Patrick Cripps. I don't think I'd like to fight anything 100 worth of Patrick Cripps-sized. Like, frogs are only like this big. If they're little tiny baby frogs, like 100 of these wouldn't be so bad. But 100 like something of this tall, Patrick Cripps is like 6'6", man. I'm not fighting that.
He's huge. That tongue will just gobble us up, and we're swallowed whole. So I'm good. Thanks. Interesting question. Give us more of those. I like these thought-provoking questions. Michael, Sherry, and Meek, R1 and R2 starters next year?
Potentially. It really comes down to matchup, which double ups they have, and pricing. I mean, Supercoach, everything's pricing, especially if we're going to have 40 trades again and 5 boosts and whatnot. Ideally, you don't want to spend more than you can. But if Cherry is going to end up being like 650K and Meek around 600, it's a lot of money to put in there when potentially a Brody Grundy or a Tim English or someone else is 100K cheaper, right? I don't even know how much TDK is going to be, but if TDK's around that 500K mark, I think a lot of people are going to be, convinced to pick him up then. So it all depends on price, but potentially those two. And it's funny, they could end up being the new Gawn and Grundy as well. Meek and Cherry Joe. I don't know if that says the rolls off the tongue as quick as what Gawn and Grundy does, but you might have to start getting used to it.
Look, I think De Koning will be very expensive next year. The way he played before his injury, I think he'll be very expensive. Murray, how do you avoid a crap start in Supercoach? I was 102, Murray. If I knew the answer to that, I would not be having crap starts of my own.
The tricky thing, Murray, is like Supercoach is probably 20% picking your team. Like the preseason research you do, 40% how your team goes. Like maybe not even 40%. I'd almost argue Supercoach is probably 60% what your starting team is, and then the rest into actually like your trades you make throughout the season and being like economy efficient and whatnot. So it's just something to practice, mate. That's basically it. Like you having advantages over other people, not picking the spuds or the dead players, things like that. That's why in terms of us making content, like preseason of Supercoach always is bigger than the regular season. Just because like once you've made your team, you're kind of stuck, right? So yeah.
Draper is in Paris competing in the diving. I wish he was.
Go.
I wish he was. Then I wouldn't have to see that buffoon of a face on TV and that stupid mullet missing shots from 10 meters out, which is very, very annoying. G'day, lads. Ranked 541 on your Ricky.
Nice.
Ridley injured, 0 trades, 0 cover.
I'm catching up. I'm catching up, Ricky. I'm catching up, mate. Give me 2 more weeks. We'll see how we go.
Nah, sorry, Ricky. Hip flexor strain. He will miss at least next week against. Yeah, sorry to say, no Ridley this week. Perfect week to not have Ridley playing against Fremantle. We're screwed. Joe did Brad Scott borrow his brother's playbook this week. Some of his decisions were out of this world. Fellow, I don't want to talk about it anymore. All right, I don't want to talk about it. I think for all of you non-Essendon supporters have had enough Essendon fill for tonight. If you do want me to talk more Essendon and you want me to have a video dedicated to ripping into them, then you absolutely can let me know. How do you do, fellow kids? Understand the frustration of the Bombers fans. There's been some genuine progress. Do you need to see some more from Perkins, Reid, Cox, and Sardis? Look, there's been progress in respect to maybe finding the role for Harry Jones, for giving Durham time on the ball, Caldwell time on the ball. Too.
Yeah,
for sure. But Perkins is just begging to be dropped. Reid is cursed. Cox, I'd love him to play as a forward. And Sardis needs to play in the midfield. We need to let go of Shield so that he can do that.
The problem with these young kids and not getting game time as well is that they'll be more inclined come contract time and come the trade period to start asking, hey, where's my opportunity? I mean, I saw on Twitter just before some people saying, oh, maybe Sardis off to a Richmond or someone like that. And if, you guys get offered a second-round pick for him and he's not in your best 22 when he's not pushing for a spot, like trades like that do happen. So, yeah, it's just a bit unfortunate. But you've got to start giving these kids games. I don't know if you guys follow on Twitter, but the Footy Show on 9 were just talking about debutants and playing And the Bombers have only debuted 3 players in since
last year.
2020. Sorry. Yeah, since last year. So 3 players that haven't played AFL have played for the Bombers, and that's over 2 drafts. So it's not great.
Big J wouldn't go around telling people.
Well, calm down, mate. Calm down. Calm down.
She's having a better second year than Dacos, and it feels like it's barely being acknowledged.
Yep. Because he plays for North Melbourne. That's basically it, really. And the AFL media doesn't like talking up our players unless you shove it in their face. So, yeah, it is what it is.
Yep, that's true. Maltesing. That's fair enough. I agree. Welcome to the Essendon stream. Sorry, Michael. I didn't want it to be Essendon related, but someone asked a question, and I'm going to do it justice. Wooden Spoon Data. G'day, Wooden Spoon. Too many people not willing to get their hands dirty. Langford and Laverty can't get less GBG than Draper. It's all these senior players in the list that are holding us back. Stringer played a good game against us in the midfield. Smoke and mirrors that move. He's Bonnie and Clyde Maltesing. You never know what you're gonna get. Love the answer, lads. Love your big style, Big J and Big Joey. I reckon I could chin 100 frogs the size of Cripps.
Yeah, probably.
Be easier to hit than a midget.
You could probably eat 100 frogs the size of Cripps. I mean, or maybe not. Maybe the other way around.
This idea that youngsters are the panacea are barking up the wrong tree. Honestly, it takes a mixture of all ages, and age is a myth. Most 20-year-olds have the maturity of a gnat. It's true. A lot of 20-year-olds are kids, and they're almost 20 is almost like the new 16 in this day and age, for sure. So I agree that age is a number, but still.
You say that, right? You say that, but then you look at some of the greats and some of the great young players of the game. They're only kids who've been drafted like 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, and that's your 18, 19, 20-year-olds. So it's it's tough. I do agree that it is a vast mix, but you need to play the kids and you need to keep that rotation going all the time. Otherwise, like you might have a year where you draft 5 or 6, and then half of them want to leave in 4 years. So yeah, it's something that a club can't handle as much. But yeah, just something to think about there.
Lads, Sherry has to be all Australian, hasn't he? Like known, Gorn and company will get mentioned, but Rounded here is a jet. If it's not him and Briggs, it's time we start watching chess boxing.
Mate, chess boxing's pretty good, I'll tell you what. If I was better at chess, watch out. Cherry needs to be all Australian, the way that he's going, his stats and everything, but you know Grundy will get a mention just because of how well Sydney's doing. Maybe not Gorn this year, just for how bad Melbourne's doing. But they'll be like, he's probably going to retire in 2 more years. Let's give him the All-Australian. Cherry's only done it for 1 year, so he can get stuffed. It's similar to Larky. I was very surprised that he got All-Australian last year, but it's really hard to say no to 70-plus goals in a season. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough one for Cherry. He... in Supercoach terms, he really hasn't had that many bad games. In AFL terms, a similar thing as well.
I'd say the Big O also doesn't get a lot of love. We tend to forget about the Big O, but I think Oscar McInerney has had McInerney has also had a really solid year, and I think definitely deserves to be in the squad. It will be a tight race to see who gets into the team. The squad's of 40 people, but the team itself is going to be really tight to break in. Yeah. Is that the graveyard from Saving Private Ryan? No, the Saving Private Ryan one. They're all crosses. It looks a bit like this one, the Saving Private Ryan one, whereas my one mine's just the rounded tombstones, but it does give you that vibe. Yes. I'm going VC Gorn and C Sheasel this week.
I wouldn't be going Gorn, to be honest. Like we saw kind of his performance last week. I love Sheasel. I think he's fantastic. But even just the stats that came out and said, those score assists and whatnot. If I'm a Richmond coach and I want to win, or just be competitive, I'm going to put some time into Sheasel. So I'm not sure what's happening with the Graham and that kind of thing, but there will be someone that runs with him in this game. So if you've got a Cherry, it might be a better pick. Sheasel, look, cool, throw the VC on him. I don't mind, but yeah, I probably wouldn't go Sheasel C. I don't know if you noticed the fixturing, Joe, but there's 2 Friday night games this week.
Yeah,
Bit crazy. Like,
the AFL is just
didn't we
munted.
make Thursday games so they could avoid doing this? Now they've done 2 Friday night games. What a joke.
AFL is just munted, honestly.
How did we go from there being a fixture, even before Thursday night games, where there was a fixture where it was like you could watch every game of the weekend? Now you just can't. Bonkers.
It's just, yeah. Well, at least not at the same time. At least they're not at the same time.
Because one's in Perth. That's why.
Is Footscray always named Footscray?
I think check last week. I think it is. Yep.
I don't know if I've just lost the plot, but this is honestly
they're called like the Footscray Western Bulldogs. Yeah. They're not called Western Bulldogs. Western Bulldogs.
I know, but for me, I just feel like I've never noticed them actually called Footscray before. I don't know.
There you go.
I might have lost the plot. I've actually lost the plot, probably. I don't know. Maybe it's just the grief has caused me to forget. But honestly, I think that's my first time. But in your response, Legend, I'm probably going to do Bond into Sheasel this week.
Yeah, that's pretty safe.
Sam Draper legit looks like if he wasn't a footballer, it would be his uncle's apprentice in the mechanics in Ballarat. Never gets full title, but does put dodgy import parts on cars and charges primo.
There you go.
Look, I feel bamboozled, Pommy. I feel robbed. I feel like we've got a dodgy import part in the ruck line. Play Nick Bryan. I want Sam Draper dropped.
Yeah.
I want him dropped.
Joe has been jumping on the Nick Bryan train for the past however long, and he wants this guy to play, man. Chuck him in there and see what happens. Because he's going to be one like Sardis. Like I just spoke about players wanting to leave. Nick Bryan will say at the end of this year or next year, put me in, otherwise I'm going. Like, next contract, I know what it's like. This is what you've done. See you later. This other team wants to offer me a bunch more money. Like, second ruck forwards. North Melbourne would go out and ask him, like, hey, what are you doing?
Yep. So it's apparently for retro round that they call him Footscray because it's retro. All right. I like it. Not bad. I think there's a fair chance I'm screwed either way, but the lad's made a good point. 100 crip size anything. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I said don't pick it.
Big J, what has happened to your great Metallica shirt?
It's still around. It just needs a wash. So maybe next time.
That's what terrified me the most, Wooden Spoon. Tongues are creepy as it is. I don't want that size of a tongue. Yeah, Jonas is a diehard Carlton fan, Pommy. If you probably already know that. But stuff him. So much for the Swans, only losing 1 game for the rest of the year. Yeah, I know. That ladder predictor is whacked. That's gone and gone. That's gone and buried now. Anyways, love you, lads. Agree with Jason. Players far overrated. Love your work, James. But cheers, Pommy. You're an absolute legend, bro. Love to get you on again at some point real soon. Yeah, we saw that. Cherry has been great this year. Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. Worth more than a second rounder, and you could have got him for it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Australian team will be 24 midfielders anyway. Probably. All-Australian ruck will definitely be Grundy. If there's a second ruck on the bench, it'll be a toss-up between Sherry, Marshall, and Jackson. Yeah. Not Jackson. Not that broad.
Genuinely, they play a second ruck. So potentially he comes in as the second ruck. But I agree. Just kind of Grundy and Sydney's performance on the ladder is just like they're just going to pick him.
Thinking about it, I'm probably overlooking Gorn too much. Yeah, I think you are. You're going to put Jackson ahead of Gorn? Come on, Wooden Spoon data. I am going Sheasel or Flanders into Dunks or Zorko. Ooh. Who's Brisbane playing again? Oh.
Nice. Yeah, Flanders would definitely be a pick. I'm just a little bit worried of the stadium. Like, players are going to go big, but West Coast at home, like if they were playing up in Gold Coast, 100% chuck it on there. But yeah, it's. I think there's better options this year, right? Like this round, that I'm not going to go the speculative pick as much as I can. How does we'll talk about this on Thursday, right? But yeah, there'll be a few of these kind of plays.
Don't worry, Joe. We'll happily send you Petty to be your ruckman, bro. Petty.
You can also play in the forward line, Joe. You got a double.
He's better than Draper. Honestly, can you give me a player in the competition with a lower IQ than Sam Draper? And I reckon you will be hard pressed to find someone more intellectually challenged than Sam Draper. From a footballing perspective, you're not going to find anyone. He just has 0 40 IQ. It's remarkable. Joe, go to the Western Bulldogs website, not Footscray website. It says Western Bulldogs on the mascot too. Yeah, see, it actually says Western Bulldogs here. Like it's celebrating 70 years. Oh, Fitzroy Football.
There you go. It's not Fitzroy, it's Footscray Football Club. Not Fitzroy. You said
Did I say Fitzroy? Sorry,
you said Fitzroy.
Sorry, I meant Footscray. I meant the Footscray Franco Cotto.
There you go.
Sons of the Scray. Oh no. Dogs revert back to Footscray for retro round. There you go. See? They're gonna be called, the club will be known as the Footscray Football Club during this week. There you go. So that's what I'm saying. Like I was taken aback when I looked at the fixture and it said Footscray. I'm like, that's not normally the case. So there you go. Clearly, I've done a lot of these live streams to the point where I noticed the Footscray name.
There you go.
Petty is a very good third tall defender. Yes. He can actually give you shit. He can give you other than what Draper does. Come on, legend. Now you're getting Petty. Just a little bit. Have the wheels officially fallen off the Swans? Alarm bells were already ringing when Matty Rao became their main sponsor. It's a bit of injuries coming at the wrong time, I think.
I think just as well, it's sometimes these clubs, when they've been dominating as much as they can, like as much as they have, that's just what happens. I mean, look at Brisbane; they were shit for a long period of time, and now they jumped up. Sydney were the best for a long period of time. When you've played 20-odd games in a season, clubs start to figure you out as well because they've seen 20 games worth of good games and they kind of know what it is. So, yeah.
Yep. John Sammy Newman's going to come back for Essendon, mate. What? Give us anyone and they will ruck better than Sam Draper, honestly. Yeah. But I just want us to play someone who is perfectly competent, perfectly capable, who's playing very well in the VFL. Mm-hmm. I'm not asking for much. I honestly don't think I'm asking the world of Brad Scott to reward good VFL form and just play Nick Bryan. We've spent years developing him, and it would be the biggest travesty if you've spent all these years developing him, he plays one game in 2024 and then requests a trade and then kills it elsewhere. That would be the worst possible outcome. And he will. So play him. Play him. Oh, cheers, Jonas. Much love, mate. What happened to who? Adamo Baldacchino. What happened? I don't know who you're asking about. Billy Longer will probably come back if you paid him. Maybe. Do you think Zach Fisher gets a jersey again this year? Injured foot, a smoke screen?
Yeah, no, he'll play. He'll just be performance and whatnot. He probably plays this week against Richmond and they end up winning. So, yeah, just knowing our luck at North Melbourne. I think players can have injuries, and obviously we're not pushing for finals, so there's not as much pressure to not play the kids and not play positions and not try and find spots for people. Because I think Steve-O might be out of contract this year. And and probably gets delisted, which is hilarious because we gave him 5 years and then that was it. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. The Grundy has been solid, but no one had him in an all-round discussion until he went huge against Geelong and Adelaide, who had discussed wannabe Harrison Petty in the ruck. Adelaide? Adelaide had Harrison Petty in the ruck? Nani? Legend. I thought he plays for Melbourne. Anyway, just to end on Essendon, how do you blow such a rigged back-ended draw, Joe? It's not rigged. I mean, if you look at the first few weeks of the season, we were traveling quite a bit. So home, then played the Swans away. We come back, we then travel to Port. We come back to play against the Dogs. We then travel back to play Adelaide. We then have the reigning premiers before traveling again to the Eagles. We then come back here. And so that's a lot of backwards and forwards in the first 8 rounds of the season before coming back here. So that's literally 1 week in Victoria, 1 week interstate. So I think we did the bulk of our traveling early. We had to play the Suns away. So it's not like we've played, nothing games. I mean, we did have to travel. It was all front-ended. The problem is that we've stuffed up because we've lost our way, is I guess what I'll say. Essendon are starting a petition to play less games and start finals in June. Mate, that would help. That would help a lot, Jonas. It would help a lot. Jen, you've come in right on time. We're just about to finish up. Doing well. Up the pies. Good to see you back on the winning list. Thanks, Velo. Much appreciated.
We'll be here all season.
I think he meant a pity wannabe. Strawn. Fair enough. Seriously. Yeah. Have we not? No, seriously. What did I say that wasn't wrong? MCG, then the Swans over there. Come back from then we played Port over there. We come back for the Dogs. We then play Adelaide over there. We come back to Melbourne to then play West Coast over there. Like, I don't get. Like, what's the complaint? We played against Adelaide over there. Where are we going to play them for a second time? Of course, we're going to play them here in Victoria. We played the Swans over there. Where are we going to play the Swans for the second time? Here. There's nowhere else we're going to play them here. Like, I don't quite understand where the criticism is in relation to that. So, and we're going to end the season traveling to frickin' Brisbane, where we're going to lose by 127 points. Like, I'm not keen with this end to the season. So, honestly, a bit harsh on Grundy. He tailed up Gorn, beat Marshall, Briggs, and eased English handedly.
Yeah,
it's true. It's true. He's been good. What's happening to Essendon? Oh, Jen, scroll back and listen if you have to. I had a bit of a rant. Our last 2 are bloody Tassie and Geelong. Look at our last 2. Look at 3 of our last 4. 3rd, 1st, and 2nd. We are literally playing 3 of the top 4 to end the season. We lost by 53 points to the Saints. We lost to Adelaide without.
All right, Joe. I think that's, guys. And with that, there you go. I won't stop doing this. With that, we will see you guys later. Have fun. We'll catch you for the drive home on Thursdays. Hopefully, Thursday at 5:30. Hopefully, it won't turn into the Essendon show like it was today. But we had a lot of fun there, and
they want it. They want it. They kept asking about it. All right. It's not. I don't want to talk about shitness. I don't want to talk about.
That's all right.
I want to talk. I want to talk about being happy.
Keep up with the updates. Make sure you pick some good captains. We'll talk about it during the week because here at the Centre Bounce, we do the hard work, so you guys don't have to. Bye for now.
And we complain about the Bombers too. Shut up. Shut